Hello, welcome. This is Tim Wright. Welcome to Being Reintegrated. So, very amazing things happening to kick off 2025. Y'all have made the publishing effort of Khem Publishing just amazing. I can't thank you enough for your patronage and building this new Illuminist press that we're working on. With that said, Echoes of Emotion, I've studied Echoes of Emotion, and I had it in the French, but I didn't have it all the way translated for everyone to be able to study. Since I don't really read French. I mean, I can use tools to read French, but I've been reading Echoes of Emotion. And I see that one of the seminal scholars of the Martinism and the 18th century Illuminist current really didn't have a very favorable view of Willermoes. So I don't know any other way to say it than Willermoes was a rich Mason who then took over with mesmerism and somnambulistic kind of practices, and was not liked by the people that he was taking over from. One of the reasons why the convents of Wilhelmsbad, Lyons, and Paris were placed was because they had doubts about Masonic these fringe lodges, wild lodges or whatever, they had doubts about their intentions. So me and the unknown emulator are working on getting out these seminal works, which are LaForester, Alice Jolie, and also Ridgenberg is what we're doing right now. We got volume 1 of Ridgenberg translated, and I pretty much paginated everything and got it aligned to where we're ready for publication, but I don't want to release that, which is one of the 3 seminal volumes of Illuminism in English for the first time. I don't want to release that until we have volume 2. So that's to come in 2025. We're going to probably release all 3 of those books all at the market, all at once, but it's not all done at once. This effort is taking the hands of a lot of invisible people. So I'm reading through Devone, and I'm reading through Echoes of Emotion. I mean, I do the studying too, so if you feel like you're being thrown into a whirlwind, I mean, imagine what it's like over here. So I've been studying these books, and we're finding that even Willermoes was looked at unfavorably by the people that he said he was representing, which means the German strict observance line was not very favorable to Willermoes. So I was told by lineage holders that Willermoes won the convent of Wilhelmsbad, but actually he was seen by his compatriots or comrades, or not comrades, contemporaries, that were also invested in Illuminism from a non-unknown agent viewpoint. So I've done a faithful job, and I got the unknown agent material out there. If you're part of my Patreon, you'll be able to get a free PDF of the translation of the Book of Initiates. That's available as a thank you. But that is a very rare volume, and that is the material that Willermoes pretty much used to supplement his Rocroi understanding. And here's what we're getting at. It's almost certain Ridgenberg said that Willermoes was not initiated by Martinus. He was not a Rocroi. I know it hurts, but it's just what it is. He was not initiated by Martinus. He had somewhat of an astral initiation, and he didn't have the physical transmission by Martinus. However, Abbe Fournier pretty much did. And I've been doing some studying, and I found that what his name was Devone. He was the Count of Devone, I believe. It's a little hard to understand, but all his writings were burned. But we did find one. Well, in what I should let you know is in Studies in Illuminism, a book that I offered on Kindle, and you don't have to purchase these, it's just background information. Studies of Illuminism says that the Red Book is potentially Devone's book, which makes a lot of sense because an unknown emulator who translated it says it sounds like pithy instructions from Martinist to Saint Martin. And we find out from Rene Philippon. Sorry, it's a lot of names. Rene Philippon, that the Red Book is pretty much Devone. And Devone gave it to Saint Martin, and Saint Martin published it because all of these Illuminists didn't really want to be known. They wanted to stay hidden. So we have, I had to print out a copy of mine, but we have Devone the Divine and the Spirit of Prayer. Now, Devone said, sell everything you got. Get this book. If you don't read English, go find someone in London to read it to you, because this is what it's about. In this book, The Spirit of Prayer, which is William Law, he translated into French. There's a supplementary treatise by Devone the Divine, called The Cry in the Desert. So it is really, really good. When you couple it with Fournier, not my commentary, The Simple Initiate, but that'll give you a brief synopsis of Fournier's thought. If you go to the Codex, which you can go to Khem Publishing, and at the bottom you'll have a link to the free Wikipedia, well, not Wikipedia, but Wiki-style Codex. You can have a copy to read of Pierre Fournier's What We Have Been, What We Are Going, and What We Will Become, or I think that's what it is. Let me read it. What We Have Been, What We Are, and What We Will Become by Pierre Fournier. So you can read that. You can read it along with The Simple Initiate, but also if you go and pick up Devone the Divine, which is released on Lulu, then we will be able to begin this study. I'm reading on page 16. I'll just give you a quote. Surely, even amid his bewilderment, it is still you he seeks. It is toward you that the central need of his being propels him, like a blind instinct. Yet he seeks you in what is not you. He looks for life and death, for truth and falsehood. He asks for light from darkness, reality from appearance, and eternal duration from what can only be the phenomenon of a fleeting moment. I mean, this is Devone, so it is amazing, amazing stuff. But I can't just sit here and, well, I can, but I don't want to spoil the experience of you discovering Devone yourself. Now, it's not to sell books. I'll give books away for free. That's not the problem. I wanted these books in book format, so I started making them. Khem Publishing is my publication arm, and we're going and getting new Martinists out there. So there's a new book that's going to be released that is essentially a echo of, not emotion, it's an echo of the view that our most enlightened SIs in Martinism have, called Ciphers of Illumination. We call it cipher because it's through the mask, what you just read. It's through a mask, so you're seeing this through a falsehood. But if you can figure out what they're saying, if you can figure out what the SI thing is, then we have a good compendium of views from across the board of Martinism in the United States. So what I'm trying to do is, there's been a lot of factions, there's been a lot of, you're not part of us, this isn't part of us. I've been part of organizations that have had to fight to keep the Cohen alive, and even if they didn't get to keep the Cohen alive, they had their own SI stuff, and they separated from other Rockwell. So this happens a lot. So what I'm trying to do, is bring together all of the SIs under one umbrella. Now, I'm not trying to organizationally head everything. This is simply a publication effort. So what will happen is there'll be a brief introduction of who the organization is, what their lineage is, a public appropriate thing, and then probably a mysticum nomen of the individual giving a view of their best SI presentation. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a book together of all of the SI presentations. So when you become an SI, your Grandmaster can give you this book, or you can go buy it yourself, and you'll be able to navigate the choppy waters of being alone on your own with no guidance. So I feel like that's the best thing we can do at this point. Rather than say, my order is better than yours, Ubadi. What we got is that the overall Martinism can be unified under the view of the SI. Now, there's some publishers out there that are publishing, basically, I've reviewed it. It's Advaita Vedanta, which is not necessarily what the Cohen is. It moves a little bit toward that area, but Advaita Vedanta is probably the Hindu version of Martinism. And Martinism and Advaita Vedanta are very close. So this is what you're moving into. You got to understand what this stuff is when you go and contextualize these works. Which, I recently bought a version of Abbé Fournier, and it's not to talk badly, but it has no contextualization of the information in there. So I did a topical commentary to try to get some more information on it myself. I just write these books. I read in The Way of the Bodhisattva. It's a Buddhist treatise by I think it's Shantideva. Shantideva says, erudition, I don't have any. And I only wrote this treatise so I would have it. Basically, that's what these books are. I'm not an erudite, mystic guy out there. I can barely even speak the English language. But, what happens is I wanted these books. I wanted them to study. I relied on my tradition and the voices of the tradition to inform me. So now I can go and, whatever use this has to the community, I can make that happen. I dropped out of Babylon. I don't do regular work. So as a publisher, this is my job. Now, I'm not trying to corner the market and take away your livelihood and all this stuff that, I guess I'm taking on some of this flack. You got to be somebody to be talked about. But so the point is we're moving forward with the SI vibe in Ciphers of Illumination, and we're this year going to publish all three of those seminal Illuminist works, Joly, Ridgenberg, and LeForester, to just give a pow to everybody out there to understand that these French Illuminists are way ahead of us, and we're an embarrassment if we're not aware of these things. So we'll have a compendium of Martinism of SI degrees, verified SI degrees. They don't get to get into the book unless they have a certificate, which will be verified with the Grandmaster to make sure of authenticity. So you're basically going to have a book of SIs talking together what l'initiation was supposed to be, but it basically just turned into a journal arm of a few individuals. This is going to be a unilateral view across all Martinism, so you're going to have all your Martinist voices represented. Now, for the Cohen, it's not going to be a Cohen book. It's a Martinism book. For Cohen, I'm moving more toward Abbe Fournier and Devone and away from Willermoes the more I study these scholars. But it's there too. So we gave a representative voice for even those which I don't personally stand for or believe had what they were looking for. So I think Fournier is Martinez' successor. From the reading I've done, it looks like the last-ditch effort in Haiti was not really intentional. It was reactionary. And I'm not, Sebastian de la Casas, all of those people, I'm not here to say bad things about anybody, just to tell the truth about what happened. And it looks like, to me, Fournier and his disciple Devone were kind of the lineage of the theosophy that we're going down. Saint Martin, I said this in the research lecture I gave recently, but Saint Martin was a direct reactionary response to Willermoes' unknown agent. That's why he picked up the moniker unknown philosopher. So, with all of that said, I hope you go pick up Devone. I get my physical copy today. I mean, I got it printed out. I'm reading it. I love Devone's writing. It's just so to the point. And it's very Cohen. So I'm very, very happy to have that. Eventually, we'll be commenting on it, doing a presentation. But, all of this stuff comes together. So even Favre, I have some material by Favre available. We're not sure whether we want to have the Abbe Fournier and Favre stuff come out. We do internally have a translation of Favre's lecture, but also I found in Paul Vuillard in the Rose Croix of Lyons that there's actually a really good piece of information there that should probably be published. So I'm going to work on getting that refined and edited, and we're probably going to go ahead and release another study book on Abbe Fournier from his peers and some of the stuff that I've collected through the scholarship. We have both part 1 and 2 of Favre's journal, and then, like I said, this new chapter out of Paul Vuillard, and I think that's all I can get. There might be some stuff in the Forrester, Jolie, and Ridgenberg that we want to introduce. So when making that big introduction to everybody, we can go through the seminal academics, and the academics can present it rather than any one individual's bent or slant on what the material is. I'm watching all of it, so I'm glad that you guys are coming around here. And we're getting members for the Order de Coens Ressuscite. We're accepting applications, so email resurrectedcoens@gmail.com, and we'll get you over to membership. Thanks a lot.